Tonight, somewhere above you, the sky will growl. You will barely look up. You know exactly what it is. Air expanding. Physics. Nothing more. But for almost all of human history, that sound meant something else entirely. It meant a god was angry. Picture your ancestors standing in an open field. No roof, no forecast, no idea what a cloud is made of. Just a sudden crack of noise so loud it rattles bone. What would you think? You would not think atmospheric pressure. You would think something enormous, something alive was speaking. And across nearly every culture on Earth, separated by oceans and thousands of years, people arrived at almost the same answer. In the north, along the icy coast of Scandinavia, the Norse heard the sound of a hammer. Thor swung Mjolnir through the sky, and when it struck, the world shook. Lightning was the spark of impact. Thunder was the echo of that swing. Far to the south, in Greece, the sky belonged to Zeus. He didn't need a hammer. He hurled the bolt itself straight from Mount Olympus, a weapon forged for him alone. The Romans borrowed the same idea and renamed him Jupiter, ruler of sky and storm, thunder as the sound of his authority. In India, Indra rode into battle against drought and darkness, his thunderbolt called the Vajra, a weapon that could crack mountains. In West Africa, the Yoruba people spoke of Shango, a king turned god, who threw stones of fire down from the heavens. Even today, some households keep a stone from a lightning strike site, believed to be one of his weapons, fallen back to earth. In China, the Duke of Thunder, Leigong, carried a drum and a mallet. When someone broke a moral law in secret, thinking no one could see, Leigong could still hear it. And so he struck his drum, and thunder followed, a warning that nothing stays hidden forever. And along the northern coasts of North America, several indigenous nations describe something even stranger. Not a god with a weapon, but a bird. A thunderbird, wings wide enough to blacken the sky, and when those wings beat, the sound was thunder itself. Lightning flashed from its eyes. Halfway around the world, in Mesoamerica, the Maya told a similar story through Chaac, a god of rain and storm who split the clouds open with an axe. Farmers timed their entire planting season around his moods. A quiet sky meant a hungry season ahead. A loud one meant the fields might survive. Even the Aztecs kept a version of this figure, Tlaloc, whose temples were built high, closer to the clouds he supposedly commanded. Priests believed that when Tlaloc struck his axe against a mountain, the crack you heard rolling across the valley was the proof. Notice something else here. These weren't just frightening stories told to children. They were survival tools. A god who punished cruelty or rewarded good rainfall gave people a reason to behave, to plant on time, to fear consequences even when no one was watching. Myth wasn't only explanation, it was a form of social order held together by thunder. Different continents, different languages, different gods. But notice the pattern. Almost none of these cultures treated thunder as random. It was never just weather. It was always a message, a punishment, a warning, a weapon aimed at something below. Why would so many unconnected people land on the same idea? Because the human brain does not like unexplained power. Give it a loud, invisible, dangerous force, and it will search for a cause. And the most familiar cause any person has ever known is another person. A will, an intention. Someone doing this on purpose. Psychologists call this pattern hyperactive agency detection. Your mind is wired to assume something intentional is behind unexplained events, because across evolutionary history, assuming a tiger and being wrong cost you very little. Assuming wind and being wrong could cost you your life. So thunder became a being because a being was the only explanation your ancestors' minds knew how to reach for. It took thousands of years and one very specific kite to change that. In 1752, Benjamin Franklin flew a kite into a storm and proved that lightning was simply electricity, the same force sparking quietly inside a Leyden jar in his laboratory. There was no god at the end of the string, just Chaac, seeking the shortest path to the ground. And yet, even now, knowing the physics, thunder still makes you flinch. Your shoulders still tense before your mind catches up. That reaction is older than language, older than any god you could name. It is the same reflex Thor's followers felt, the same one that sent worshippers of Shango reaching for their sacred stones. You have not outgrown the myth. You have just replaced the storyteller. The next time thunder rolls over your house, notice that flinch. It is not fear of electricity. It is the oldest part of your brain, still listening for footsteps in the sky.